If you hear this is fake news, it's not real, no. This is real. Receipts for credit card purchases are rarely provided.
CNN has revealed a bombshell, uncovering emails that show a police ally snitching on Mayor Tiffany Henyard, and in a shocking twist, Dalton's police chief, Louis Lacey, has been arrested. This development could be the tipping point for Henyard, who is often referred to as Dalton's super mayor. The situation is more than just another scandal. It could signal the downfall of Henyard's alleged empire of corruption. The arrest of Chief Lacey, one of Henyard's closest allies, raises serious questions about what's next for the mayor. Could her grip on power finally be slipping? And will Lacey, facing severe charges, betray his longtime ally to escape a lengthy prison sentence? The answers to these questions could determine the fate of Henyard's political future. Louis Lacey, Dalton's police chief and one of Henyard's closest friends, now faces a 9-count indictment that could lead to significant prison time. Lacey is accused of lying under oath to hide his assets and income, allowing him to avoid paying over $440,000 in a lawsuit settlement. He has been charged with bankruptcy fraud, making false statements in a bankruptcy case, and perjury, each charge carrying up to 5 years in prison. At 61, Lacey, a resident of Madison, recently appeared in court wearing a blue suit, where he quickly confirmed his understanding of the charges. His attorney, Gal Petty, entered a not guilty plea on his behalf, but objected to certain conditions imposed by U.S. Magistrate Judge Beth Chance, who ordered Lacey to surrender his service weapon, 2 additional firearms, and his firearm owner's ID card. However, these restrictions could be reconsidered if Petty can prove they hinder Lacey's duties with the Dalton Police Department. A status meeting is scheduled for October 1st before U.S. District Judge Thomas Durkin. Although the charges are unrelated to his official duties as a police officer, they add to the ongoing federal investigation into Mayor Henyard's alleged corruption. This indictment is just the latest blow to Henyard, who has been the target of several federal subpoenas this year. Lacey's attorney, Petty, told the media that the charges against Lacey are part of a broader scheme to discredit Mayor Henyard. He highlighted Lacey's long-standing service and reputable career in law enforcement, calling this a witch hunt designed to bring Lacey down in order to take down the mayor as well. Even though Dalton's trustees recently placed Lacey on indefinite administrative leave, Petty is contesting this decision, arguing that the trustees don't have the authority to do so and insisting that Lacey should continue receiving his salary. Petty added that the mayor, not the trustees, controls the paychecks, further emphasizing the intertwined nature of Lacey's and Henyard's power. Lacey's financial troubles are not new. They have plagued him for decades, dating back to several personal bankruptcy filings in Chicago during the 1980s. His most recent filings in 2019 and 2020 helped him delay paying a settlement from 2017 in a state court case involving a woman whose husband was killed in 2012. The lawsuit accused Lacey of visiting the woman multiple times and convincing her to give him tens of thousands of dollars from her husband's life insurance payout. Although Lacey admitted in court that he showed sympathy and checked on her well-being, he denied taking any money. The lawsuit was eventually settled for $55,000, with Lacey making an initial payment of $112,000. However, the fraud charges against Lacey show a pattern of deception. He allegedly filed for bankruptcy twice to avoid paying the remaining $43,000 while concealing his full income and controlling multiple bank accounts. He also lied about his marital status, falsely claiming his wife didn't live with him or contribute to household expenses, which allowed him to reduce his reported income and avoid creditors. These charges are not just an isolated incident but could represent the beginning of the unraveling of a corrupt system that Henyard has reportedly built. The indictment is a critical moment for Dalton, and many believe it signals that justice is finally being served. What makes this case even more compelling is Lacey's deep ties to Henyard. He isn't just any police chief, he has been one of her closest allies, allegedly helping her carry out illegal activities, including extorting local businesses, intimidating political opponents, and providing private security for the mayor and her associates. Lacey's indictment represents a major crack in Henyard's inner circle. If he chooses to cooperate with investigators to avoid a lengthy prison sentence, he could potentially expose significant details about how Henyard has allegedly abused her power and misused the Dolton Police Department.
That you have a significant security detail. First of all, how large is your police department in Dolton, and what is your security detail?
So we have about 45 officers in our village. My security is warranted due to the fact of threats and things of that nature, but what people are not stating is it's in our CBA. That's our collective bargaining agreement. That's our union contract. So it comes with a seat. That's what people are not saying. I didn't make this up. I didn't just create this and say, I want.
Lacey's potential cooperation with investigators wouldn't be the first betrayal within Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration, as whispers suggest others may be ready to turn against her. In fact, some individuals may have already begun speaking out as early as 6 months ago. One notable defector is Robert Collins, the former police chief of South Suburban Dolton, who broke his silence regarding Mayor Henyard's controversial use of security detail. Collins revealed that Henyard's excessive demands for personal protection significantly hindered his ability to effectively manage crime in the community. According to Collins, these demands placed a tremendous burden on the police force, diverting valuable resources away from patrols in high-crime areas where they were most needed. The strain on the department intensified in 2023 when a Fox 32 investigation uncovered the enormous taxpayer cost of Henyard's security detail, largely due to the substantial overtime required to meet her security needs. This report highlighted how officers who were meant to serve the broader public were instead being reassigned to protect the mayor, resulting in a major drain on both financial resources and manpower. Under Collins' leadership, the Dolton Police Department, already struggling with high crime rates and limited personnel, was pushed to its breaking point as officers were repeatedly pulled from their regular duties to safeguard Henyard. This misallocation of resources created a critical situation, with the department unable to maintain a proper balance between addressing public safety and meeting the mayor's security demands. Collins explained that officers were frequently reassigned to protect Henyard rather than deployed to high-need areas where violent crime was rising, further exacerbating the strain on an already overstretched police force. This diversion of resources was not only detrimental to community safety, but also fostered frustration within both the police department and the community. The department soon found itself struggling to provide adequate coverage for street patrols, raising concerns about the overall safety of Dolton residents as violent crime escalated. Collins' decision to go public with these revelations reflects the growing cracks within Henyard's administration and the increasing dissatisfaction with her leadership. His account also raises serious questions about the mayor's priorities and how her personal demands have negatively impacted the welfare of the community. While Collins' stance may not have been the first signal of dissent within Henyard's inner circle, it is undoubtedly significant, drawing attention to the mounting challenges and controversies that have defined her tenure. His willingness to speak out, even after leaving his position, suggests there may be more revelations to come from others in Henyard's administration who have so far remained silent. Collins' testimony also underscores the broader issue of how Henyard's leadership has diverted crucial police resources away from public safety, potentially contributing to the increase in crime within Dolton. As the community grapples with the impact of these decisions, Collins' public revelations could embolden others within Henyard's administration to step forward and expose further wrongdoing, potentially unraveling the mayor's grip on power. After being dismissed by Mayor Tiffany Henyard late last year, Robert Collins, who later relocated to Florida, expressed deep frustration over the significant challenges he faced as the police chief of Dolton. Leading an already understaffed and overworked department, Collins was further burdened by Henyard's demands for an extensive personal security detail. He stressed that officers were desperately needed on the streets to combat the town's rising crime, yet they were frequently reassigned to chauffeur the mayor, a situation Collins deemed unacceptable and one that demanded accountability. Investigations later revealed that Dolton police officers were spending considerable time driving Henyard to various locations, including her second taxpayer-funded position as Thorndon Township Supervisor in South Holland. Public records showed these officers racked up hundreds of overtime hours, costing Dolton's struggling taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars, raising serious concerns in a small town like Dolton, which has a population of just over 20,000 and is grappling with economic challenges. Collins highlighted how the town often had only a few officers on duty during any given shift, with those officers critically needed elsewhere to handle public safety concerns. Initially, Henyard's security detail was justified in 2021 following a police-involved shooting in Dolton that triggered protests and threats against the mayor. Collins acknowledged that during this period of heightened tension, a security detail for Henyard was necessary. However, as the protests subsided and threats diminished, the security detail not only persisted but expanded significantly. This expansion raised red flags for Collins, who soon realized officers were being diverted from public safety duties for tasks far removed from legitimate security concerns. Instead of focusing on protecting the mayor from potential threats, officers were increasingly assigned to personal tasks for Henyard. Collins revealed that officers were frequently tasked with running errands, picking up and dropping off items, and chauffeuring Henyard to personal engagements that had no connection to actual security needs. This misuse of police resources became a growing point of contention for Collins as it drained the department's already limited manpower, leaving fewer officers available to patrol the streets or respond to the community's public safety needs. Henyard's extensive personal security demands compounded the challenges the department was facing, stretching its resources thin at a time when crime was on the rise in the community. Collins grew increasingly frustrated with the situation as his efforts to address the issue internally were met with resistance and no meaningful change. The ongoing demands on police personnel to serve Henyard's personal needs, rather than focusing on the broader public, created a significant strain on the department's capacity to fulfill its primary mission. Ultimately, Collins' frustration boiled over, contributing to his decision to speak out following his dismissal. His revelations cast a harsh spotlight on the broader issues within Henyard's administration, particularly the questionable allocation of police resources and the detrimental impact it had on public safety in Dolton. Collins' account raised serious questions about the priorities of Henyard's leadership and the potential consequences of diverting officers away from critical law enforcement duties to cater to the mayor's personal needs, revealing the deeper cracks within Dolton's governance. Mayor Tiffany Henyard's extensive security detail not only accumulated substantial overtime costs, but also incurred thousands of dollars in travel expenses as police officers were tasked with accompanying her on out-of-town trips, raising serious concerns from former police chief Robert Collins. Frustrated by the mayor's increasing security demands, Collins questioned the necessity of assigning officers to protect Henyard in distant locations where the likelihood of a legitimate threat was minimal. He openly asked why such a heavy security presence was needed in remote areas far from Dolton, where potential threats seemed implausible. Collins argued that the diversion of so many officers to Henyard's security detail made it nearly impossible for him to address the pressing crime issues plaguing Dolton. This misallocation of police resources, he contended, had a direct and detrimental impact on public safety. As an example, he pointed to a February shooting on SI Boulevard, which left 4 people injured, suggesting that the tragedy could have been mitigated if more officers had been available for street patrols. Collins highlighted Dolton's significant challenges with gangs, firearms, and illegal substances, all of which require a strong, visible police presence to keep crime under control. According to him, the officers assigned to escort the mayor could have been far more effectively deployed by patrolling high-crime areas and responding to the community's escalating concerns about safety. When police visibility is low, Collins warned, criminals become emboldened, knowing that their chances of being caught are reduced. This, he believed, was a direct consequence of Henyard's excessive use of police resources for her personal protection, which came at the expense of the community's safety. The mayor's security detail became a growing source of contention as Collins raised concerns about the strain it placed on Dolton's already limited police force. In a small town that frequently operates with only a few officers on duty during any given shift, losing personnel to non-essential tasks like chauffeuring the mayor or accompanying her on out-of-town trips further weakened the department's ability to maintain public safety. The financial burden of these travel expenses, compounded by the significant overtime costs, added additional strain to Dalton's already tight budget, raising questions about whether taxpayer dollars were being used responsibly. When a Fox 32 investigative team attempted to question Henyard about her use of the police detail, Dalton Village Administrator Keith Freeman intervened, blocking the camera and preventing the mayor from responding, fueling speculation about her leadership and decision-making. Collins' revelations shed light on a broader issue of misallocated resources within Henyard's administration, sparking public concern over the priorities of her office and the impact her decisions have had on Dalton's already struggling police department.
Needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around protecting America.
Collin recently recounted the challenges he faced when trying to raise concerns with Keith Freeman, only to have them dismissed as irrelevant. According to Collin, it was made clear to him that these were the orders, and he had no choice but to comply. Last week, Collin initiated a civil lawsuit against the village of Dalton, alleging wrongful termination. He claims that Mayor Tiffany Henyard dismissed him without valid cause or board approval, suggesting that the firing was politically motivated due to his wife's connections with some of Henyard's political opponents. Collins' attorney, Richard Blast, a well-regarded expert in police matters, argued that the termination was illegal. He emphasized that Collin, a seasoned law enforcement professional, was unjustly removed from his position by Henyard, who serves as both the mayor and the police chief. Collin is a patrolman at heart, Blast asserted, adding that his dismissal was wholly unjustified. Collins' case has brought further attention to allegations of corruption surrounding Henyard's administration. Henyard stands accused of running a pay-to-play scheme in which she allegedly stripped business licenses from those who refused to contribute to her charity. These allegations have led to charges of kickbacks and bribery, leaving local businesses feeling coerced into financially supporting the mayor's personal agenda just to keep their doors open. Many Dalton business owners believe they are being pressured to endorse Henyard's initiatives, further exacerbating tensions in the community. In addition to the pay-to-play allegations, Henyard is also facing scrutiny for allegedly misusing taxpayer funds in ways that many residents find extravagant and inappropriate. For example, reports suggest that Henyard had the city finance her personal ice skating rink, a luxury many Dalton taxpayers view as excessive, especially in a community where many residents are struggling financially. To make matters worse, Henyard has been accused of using public funds to promote her own image, including placing her face on 22 billboards across the city. This form of self-promotion, funded by the very people she is meant to serve, has only heightened frustration among the public. But the controversy doesn't stop there. Henyard is reportedly paying tens of thousands of dollars monthly to a public relations firm to revamp her image, a monumental task given the growing scrutiny she faces. Residents are increasingly concerned about how taxpayer dollars are being used to polish her public persona, particularly as the community grapples with real economic hardships. Henyard's dual role as both the mayor of Dalton and the supervisor of Thornton Township only adds to the concerns about her administration, with many questioning whether she can effectively manage both positions. As investigations into Henyard's activities continue, the allegations against her are mounting, raising serious questions about her leadership and the future of Dalton. The situation remains tense, and as more revelations come to light, it seems that the controversy surrounding Henyard is far from over. Collin recently recounted the challenges he faced when trying to raise concerns with Keith Freeman, only to have them dismissed as irrelevant. According to Collin, it was made clear to him that these were the orders, and he had no choice but to comply. Last week, Collin initiated a civil lawsuit against the village of Dalton, alleging wrongful termination. He claims that Mayor Tiffany Henyard dismissed him without valid cause or board approval, suggesting that the firing was politically motivated due to his wife's connections with some of Henyard's political opponents. Collins' attorney, Richard Blast, a well-regarded expert in police matters, argued that the termination was illegal. He emphasized that Collin, a seasoned law enforcement professional, was unjustly removed from his position by Henyard, who serves as both the mayor and the police chief. Collin is a patrolman at heart, Blast asserted, adding that his dismissal was wholly unjustified. Collins' case has brought further attention to allegations of corruption surrounding Henyard's administration. Henyard stands accused of running a pay-to-play scheme in which she allegedly stripped business licenses from those who refused to contribute to her charity. These allegations have led to charges of kickbacks and bribery, leaving local businesses feeling coerced into financially supporting the mayor's personal agenda just to keep their doors open. Many Dolton business owners believe they are being pressured to endorse Henyard's initiatives, further exacerbating tensions in the community. In addition to the pay-to-play allegations, Henyard is also facing scrutiny for allegedly misusing taxpayer funds in ways that many residents find extravagant and inappropriate. For example, reports suggest that Henyard had the city finance her personal ice skating rink, a luxury many Dolton taxpayers view as excessive, especially in a community where many residents are struggling financially. To make matters worse, Henyard has been accused of using public funds to promote her own image, including placing her face on 22 billboards across the city. This form of self-promotion, funded by the very people she is meant to serve, has only heightened frustration among the public. But the controversy doesn't stop there. Henyard is reportedly paying tens of thousands of dollars monthly to a public relations firm to revamp her image, a monumental task given the growing scrutiny she faces. Residents are increasingly concerned about how taxpayer dollars are being used to polish her public persona, particularly as the community grapples with real economic hardships. Henyard's dual role as both the mayor of Dolton and the supervisor of Thornton Township only adds to the concerns about her administration, with many questioning whether she can effectively manage both positions. As investigations into Henyard's activities continue, the allegations against her are mounting, raising serious questions about her leadership and the future of Dolton. The situation remains tense, and as more revelations come to light, it seems that the controversy surrounding Henyard is far from over.